Yo, my bad. I had a video ready for you guys this morning, but I just realized it got stuck in my draft. So let's look at getting prepared for tomorrow instead. How about that? All right, got to start with SPY. Let's go to our larger time frame, see where we are. All right, we're still handling this trend pretty well, but this is what I saw earlier. Boom, we do have this uptrend, higher highs, higher lows, but look, we got our first lower high here. Here, we closed the day lower on the daily here. So we could potentially start seeing something like this form. All right. And I actually like this because it gives us a pretty clear view on either a reversal or a continuation. What do? We wait to see what happens here. Does this wick become bigger and then the body starts to squeeze here? If so, we're going to take that without hesitation. Remember, we're going to take that without hesitation and run this thing back down. When we get to 681, probably once Jerome Powell starts speaking, because we know that when he speaks, volatility goes crazy in the market. Or now we have this downtrend that we can wait to break out of. If we break out of here, break, retest, then we take it and maybe finally get up to the top of this and see about 699 to 700, which I think we were trying to push towards. So that's what I'll be waiting for on the SPY. Again, do we reject this in the morning, 693, and we start forming this as like a dragonfly doji? If so, we're going to pull that thing down. Let's drop down to a lower time frame and see what it looks like for us. And voila. Look here, lower time frame, right? We got a hit. This coming back up here will be a retest. Retest plus a double top. So if we get this retest here plus this double top and we lose this with the wick turning into a body, we're taking that, right? Without hesitation, stop loss to save you. That's what we're looking for. Opposite of that, we're looking to see right here. Do we break out of here? Retest, bounce. This is what we want. Then we take this bounce all the way up here. So that's what we're looking for on the SPY. As an inverse, we got to see, okay, is the VIX lining up and saying that's possible? Well, would you looky here? VIX broke out on a 1 hour time frame. We had our downtrend here on the VIX. It also looks like it could have been a cup and a handle forming too. Downtrend, we broke out here on the VIX. Well, now we just got to see what happens. Does the VIX come back and retest and then bounce? If we come back and retest and then shoot up, we're definitely bringing that SPY back down. So you got to look for those things. VIX, SPY, SPX, those three things, right? Whatever VIX is going to be doing, SPY, SPX, XSP, Qs are going to be doing the opposite. So keep your eye on that. All right. Let's go look at some of our tech. We saw Apple get a nice little pop here. Now, I believe Apple has earnings coming up pretty soon. But remember, we were waiting on Apple just like everything else. We finally, Monday, today, we finally got our break here on Apple. Look at this. 3 a.m. it happened. We got our breakout. Then we got a retest. And this thing just been running ever since. Even when the market opened here, we kept pushing, kept pushing here on Apple. So market opens around 251. Apple pushed up to 256. So what do we wait for on Apple here? Couple things. We got a supply zone here that's very clear. So we'll see what happens. Do we run up here, test, and fall back down? If so, we'll take that. Or does this thing come all the way back down as a retest? Now, I will say, I don't think it's going to come all the way down tomorrow as a retest because I believe they have earnings coming up. And this looks like it could be a pre-earnings run up. So let's see here. Apple earnings date. What's that? Yeah, they have earnings this week. So this could be like a pre-earnings run up here on Apple. So sometimes stocks run up before their earnings and then they crash after earnings. Sometimes stocks pull back before earnings and then they run after earnings. So I personally don't really like playing around earnings because implied volatility is typically pretty high, which means what do we expect the swing to look like? Is it going to be violent or whatever? And when IV is high before earnings, the premiums are also high. So you can get into a premium and the stock can run in your favor, but once the IV comes back down, it's called IV crush. And once that comes back down, the premiums will drop, even though the play's still going in your favor and that IV crushes you. So that's why I typically stay away from earnings plays. I'll let the smoke settle unless the IV is reasonable. Um, so that's what I see here on Apple. We also got this. I draw this here, right? Little ascending starting to form here where it looks like we may zigzag a few times. So if we lose this, we could pull back down. But if we bounce off of that, we're probably going to keep pushing on Apple. Let's go to the 4 hour on this real quick. Yeah, because if we bounce off of that, the 4 hour, while the lower time frame does have that resistance, this 4 hour doesn't really have anything up until 261. And this would have been the catch. Looks like we already had that. Where do we see that? Looks like we had a bottom here for Apple, which means we must have saw the other one. Yep. So it looks like we already had this charted out on Apple, just missed it. You're not gonna front, definitely missed it, but we had to chart it out. And that's my bad because I should have put an alert here at 250 on Apple to run up. All right. So let's look at NVIDIA, our AI darling. All right. Part of my drawings, I got stuff all over the place with NVIDIA. So our inverse head and shoulders played out here. Now we were like, okay, there's a top here. What's going to happen? Do we get this, double top to play out? Little bit, it pulled down some from 187 to 186-ish. So a little bit on NVIDIA. But I think the bigger play here, let's clean some stuff up a little bit because now some stuff is playing out and let's just see it a little clearer. You also have this, all right? Just a little ascending wedge here, flagpole. All right. This could be a bull flag here. We could be touching the bottom of this and NVIDIA getting ready to blast out of here and push up some more back up to this 193-ish. When do they have earnings? NVIDIA earnings date. Theirs is out a little bit, February. Yeah. So I'm gonna keep an eye on this. Not gonna miss this one. So I'm gonna set an alert at 187. Excuse me. NVIDIA crossing value 187. So 187, take NVIDIA there. All right. So I had CRM on here. I was waiting for a break. Oh, I think I got my break coming. All right. This is what I'm waiting for on CRM. If you can see, clean some of this up. Here's my break line here. My levels were breaking below this for puts or breaking above this 232 for calls, right? I did miss this. This was a lot of movement here. This right here? We broke out at from 222 and ran up 10 points. I missed this, not worried about it because look how much room I got. If we break, retest, and push here, got a lot of room to run this thing up. So that's what I'm waiting for. Here's my break. I already got my alert on that, but I'm being patient on this one. All right, let's go see what's on a scanner. And look, I put together this little scanner here. And what this does is kind of show me these are my pullback potential plays, large for my large caps. And what I'm looking at is where are we at above the RSI, right? If we're hold on, this isn't my pullback. Oh, that's my copy. It's my breakout. All right, sorry. Here's my breakout one. And so what am I looking for here? I want to see we're between 50 and 70 on the RSI. I want to see that price is below the 20, below the 50. Sorry, the EMAs are below price. And so that's what we're waiting on. We're waiting for those things to cross over and break through. So this is my scanner. Got a lot of stuff popping up on here. So let's go see what we can find. Look at McDonald's. Um, what does McDonald's look like for us? Oh, we. Okay, looks like McDonald's, we may have a little bit of a break and a retest. So I want to see what happens if we come back down to 310. If we come back down to 310 and bounce off of McDonald's, we're getting in and taking that, right? Again, you execute without hesitation. Want to see what happens here, get a wick with a body. We're jumping in that. If it's at 310, we'll probably take a 312.50 call. So let's go ahead and put McDonald's on here. Crossing 310. That's going to be my alert. Once I get that in a bounce, we're going to take that for a 312 call. If we lose this, since we've already tried to retest it here and we lost it, then we come and lose this again below 310. That's where I'll take puts on McDonald's. All right. So also here with McDonald's, we have some touches here. So yeah, let's see what happens. Oops. See what happens if we fall down, bounce. Let's go to my 1 hour, maybe a little clearer. Yeah. Yeah, so that makes sense. Right near a supply zone too. So yeah, it makes sense that we're more than likely will fall back down here on McDonald's because we'll hit a supply zone. So got my eye on that. Let's see what else is in my little thing here. Let's look at some stuff I hadn't looked at before. CTOS. What is it? Centos, maybe? Yep, Centos. Centos are the people that come to your office are thinking they do the trash or recycle bins or something like that, I believe. All right, so kind of like this. There's some sideways motion here, but look at all these bounces off of this demand zone. So this is definitely a key area where people are coming in and liking this price here. So what I want to see, it looks like I already had this charted. I don't remember looking at Centos in forever. So it looks like we could just move this right on over here because we continue to hit this level. All right, so Centos, what I want to see here is at this level here, we got a top. This could be a double top here to pull back down. So I either want to see this thing pull back down to this 192.90 and then catch my wick and body to push back up, or I want to see this thing break above pretty much. Let's go a trend line. Like my trend line's better. Or I want to see us break out, retest, and push back up here. So either we're going to pull back down here, and this will give me my better bounce because I'll get a wick with a body and can run this thing up, or I want to see a breakout, retest, and then push back towards that 197 here. Let's do one more. Yeah, I'll put an alert on that too because I want to actually see what happens on it tomorrow. Centos break above, actually 195. No, that's too high. 194.30. Break above that and see if it retests. If I get my alert, I'll see what happens there. All right, so I got McDonald's, Nvidia, CRM, Centos on there. So I got a few alerts ready for me tomorrow. And see what's up with UPS. All right, UPS. All right, so this is what I see here. Let me get a look across a few time zones real quick. Yeah, we got some pull down still potentially, at least to like this 106.27. See if we get a bounce here. But look at the 1 hour. We could potentially see something like this. All right, so boom, shoulder, head, pull down, shoulder. So I would love for this to come down to that 106, 105 with this demand zone, and then we get a bounce here. So we'll just have to wait and see because we can also get this to happen. You guys probably already know what I'm doing now. Trend line, boom. So we also have this. So we could potentially see this thing break above 107, retest, and then run back up to that war towards that 108. So let's look and see Oclo. Yeah, Oclo just continues to fall, which is crazy because it got a price upgrade and everything. It's not rebounding at all. So I thought maybe, right, since we touched here, that we get a trend here and we start going up. And I mean, it could potentially still be, right? We got our breakdown. This could be the retest of that, either push us back up or this retest here and pull us back down either even further, which is probably what's going to happen because we have this hole here, boom, boom. That could be our flag. This could lose, come back down here. And if we go here to the left, see this little gappy here, right at that 73. So we can see this thing continue to pull down to about 73. So keep an eye on that. And yeah, that's all I got. A couple things to look for tomorrow, about 4 plays there. So catch you on the flip side and we'll see what happens by tomorrow or end of week on some of those plays. Again, we got a lot of news coming out this week. We have Jerome Powell speaking this week, and we have a lot of earnings this week. So be patient. There's going to be money out there for you. Peace.